we have an hour together, and during this hour, my intention is to do two things. One is to share with you some of my reflections on my craft, my practice, which is theater improvisation, to stimulate you with ideas that I think are really quite relevant in this day and age where everything changes all the time. So that's one, a bit of sharing of some ideas. And then two, the bigger part of the session is about giving you an opportunity to try some stuff out so that you can see whether there's something in this improvisational approach towards life for you, if indeed improvisation could become a key, amongst others, to your future. How does that sound? I'm hearing the love. I'm hearing the enthusiasm. Yay! Okay. I have to I have to get something off my chest first. I mean, come on, guys. There's just too much uncertainty, don't you think? Every morning. I mean, I do the thing, I don't know about you guys, wake up, check my phone. Shouldn't do it, right? I mean, seriously, I want a quiet life. Feel that life is just going to carry on in a way that is somehow predictable. Wouldn't that be nice? Who here would like a little bit less uncertainty in their lives? Yay! Okay, the bad news is it's not going to happen. Uncertainty is inevitable, is unavoidable, because no matter how good our plans, would you agree, life always seems to have a habit of getting in the way? I would say improvisation is a bit like gravity. It just is. Are you familiar with this, the myth of Sisyphus? Sisyphus, I think ancient Greek myth, a king who was arrogant, and for his arrogance, he was condemned by the gods to having to keep pushing a boulder up a hill, a mountain, and whenever he got close to the top, the boulder would just roll back down. And that image, that metaphor came to me preparing for this or thinking about this opportunity today, because I don't know about you, but I think sometimes we can be a bit like that with our planning. It's like we're pushing really hard to, against uncertainty. We try to make anything manageable, but in the end, the boulder is going to roll back down because stuff happens, stuff gets in the way. And so improvisation is actually about embracing that rather than trying to avoid it. Yay! Imagine, it's a bit like Sisyphus pushing this boulder up the mountain, deciding, hey, wait a minute, let me just step aside for the moment, let that thing drop for a moment. All right. Suddenly, without that burden on my shoulder of having to push against gravity, against life and things, falling down, suddenly I have a very different view. Now I can decide, yes, I might go back down, push up the boulder again. I might just decide to climb up the mountain. I might go sideways. I might discover there are other mountains suddenly that I can see now that I'm not pushing up so hard anymore. I might even discover there are people like Re, who might climb up the mountain with me, or who might help me push the boulder up. So that is improvisation. Improvisation is not only about embracing or accepting the inevitability of uncertainty, but it's actually wholeheartedly throwing ourselves into the stream of life. So, I haven't told you about me. This is my claim to fame. I taught Amy Winehouse to improvise, which is almost true. Because this is not Amy, this is Marisa Abela, the actress who played Amy Winehouse. And Marisa and I, we met at RADA, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, where I ran the improvisation program for 19 years until I moved to Berlin. And you might know the school, maybe not. Here are some of the students that I had the joy, the privilege to teach. And I think I had the coolest job in the place. because my job was to create a space where these guys could experiment with different ways of being, where they could become, a bolder, a brighter, a more expressive version of themselves, but also more vulnerable, more tender, more loving, more insecure, more forceful, anything. Because for actors, that's really critical, right? The more you can expand your range of what you can do, the more employable you become because the more different characters you can portray, right? But then working over many years with actors, I thought, wouldn't that kind of experience or that opportunity be nice for anybody? To have a kind of rehearsal space for life? So this is then that I set up my own business called Spacecraft out of London. People sometimes ask, do you build spacecraft? And I say, well, maybe. Because in my experience, when people discover that, like Sisyphus, when they let their normal habit drop and discover that maybe more different things are possible for them, it is a bit like getting onto a spaceship and discovering that there's a whole world out there. And so this is a bit the invitation for today. I work with a whole bunch of different businesses also. For example, Bayern Munich Football Club, I work with them with their sports psychologists, looking at how improvisation can help their coaches to be more relational in their way and more creative in the way that they design the training sessions, but also with the players, how they can be more inventive and more creative on the pitch. So that's just one application of how improvisation really is a life skill. In fact, I would say any conversation that you have in your life should really be an improvisation. What do you think about that? Because if it isn't, then it means you're not discovering anything. But maybe if we expand it also towards a life, that was an interesting sound. Maybe every life well lived should be an improvisation. Because it means that with every step you take in your career, in your private life, you're making new discoveries and suddenly you see different things that you couldn't have anticipated before. Because this is the promise of improvisation. The idea is that all there really is now. Because the past has already happened. The future isn't here yet. So the only space we really have to do stuff is actually right now. This is the methodology that we're going to be employing. So what is this little mountain goat doing? It is leaping between rocks. And there is research out there that suggests or has discovered that all animal species on this planet play. Like this little mountain goat kid, jumping around the rocks, playfully leaping about. And the question is, why do all animals play? Because play is critical to their evolution, to their survival. Because playing around freely with its mates, this little mountain goat builds the skills, the muscles and the skills that will then, when a predator arrives, help them survive. And the same thing is true for human beings. So play is perhaps the most natural human way of leaning into our potential and growing.